Like into camera. Okay, so for Germany, Japan, Netherlands, you are a major label. You're signed to Universal, and for Austria and Switzerland, you signed to indie label. What's the reason for this?
Well, actually, we signed to all indie labels. Where 2 albums ago, we did a Universal worldwide deal with Universal. But we soon realized that they don't actually work for you. So now what we do is we look for labels or partnerships. Sometimes it's still our label going through a distribution, and we look for people that know their territory, that can do the job effectively, and that will work it. When you deal with a major at a head office in England, who then disperses this album to the world, lands on some guy's desk along with Madonna, Aerosmith, I don't know, Pink, and someone else, they're not really interested in some unknown band from South Africa. So we'd rather have a team of people that are enthusiastic about it, know their territory, and will work hard on it, and not tie you in for a gazillion years. So it remains to be seen if it will work. But so far it's working. I mean, since we've been doing that, our fan base has grown considerably. So it's a much better method for me.
How hard is it to negotiate the right contracts?
Well, I think not very hard, because we know what we want, and we'll find the people that work with that deal. I'm not saying we're totally inflexible, but it needs to sort of be on our terms, and everyone should benefit from it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we must be this sort of bully with only our conditions. I think what we work on is a system that's fair to everyone.
What is good label work for you? What would you say is what really makes it for you?
Label work. I think a label that actually shows enthusiasm, and that puts in the sweat and gets results, gets us press, gets us on radio. Those are the elements that ultimately count in order to get our band name out there. I think I would rather have someone with less money, i.e. an independent, but more enthusiasm, than a major's checkbook, but they're not really interested.
So, classic question. You played at the Ingo aggregation for SUME in 2009. Do you think music can be a political tool, or would you more see it like getting your music to get to know more people?
I'm sure music can be a political tool. I mean, there are certainly bands that have had a political stance, from Bob Dylan to John Lennon to now bands like Green Day, where the message within their music is about politics. And I'm sure music has been used in political campaigns since the word politics was invented. I don't think our contribution to Zuma's inauguration was political in any way. It was a celebration party to inaugurate the new president. It wasn't some propaganda tool to infiltrate the minds of the masses.
So you also, was it hard for you to sing a song which you actually didn't write because somebody else wrote it for you?
Yeah. At first it was quite hard, because it ultimately would have been better if we could have written our own song. I think we would have been quite capable of writing a World Cup song. But I do understand that the song came way before they decided on the band. There was certain conditions that they wanted. They got a list of 120 songs or 1,000 songs or something ridiculous. Obviously narrowed it down to this specific song. Then found a whole bunch of bands that they thought they'd want to perform it. Then decided on us. So the process took very long, understandably. And I think we did take the song, we did do it in our style to a large extent. Obviously, when someone else is writing, there's still a bit of their style in it. But I think the opportunity that was afforded to us, we're grateful for. So we're not going to harp on or look at the negative elements, the fact that we didn't write it. Who cares? Aerosmith didn't write that Armageddon song. Diane Warren did. But it was a massive song.
So were you excited at all to play in front of such a big mass? Or were you like, oh, it's just a normal show? What were your feelings towards playing at the World Cup at the Open?
Yeah, I think when we first heard that we were playing at the World Cup, obviously a couple of months ago, your initial response is, oh yeah, cool. Oh, we get to play at the World Cup. But the closer you draw, the closer you get to the World Cup, the more you realize how enormous it is. I mean, I still can't believe how big a game with 11 guys kicking a ball around, or 22 guys kicking a ball around, can create so much hype and attention on such a global scale. And the more that sank in, the more you realize there were billions of people watching you, the more excited we became, the more nervous we became. But yeah, it was massive. We massively enjoyed it, and I don't think many bands will ever get that opportunity, and I don't think we'll get an opportunity that big again. We're just glad we could have been a part of it.
So in South Africa, do you yourselves to get like more recognized around the whole world?
Well, I think the only way to get recognized around the world is to be in the world. To actually be in front of people. I don't think there's a way you can shortcut it. Unless you have a gazillion rand or dollars in the bank and you can buy marketing. The best way to market yourself is to actually play live, and obviously to spend time with the press, and the key is obviously ultimately to get radio, but sometimes you need to build up a following first before radio will play you. So touring it's what worked for us in the past. It's still working for us. I'm sure it'll work for us in the future. Yeah, if I knew the real secret, then I would write a book and make millions.
Would you say South African success wasn't enough and that's why you wanted to go worldwide? Or are you happy the way it is now and you're just trying to gain for more?
Well, look, our South African success is enough because we can all live with it. We all own houses and we all own cars, and we all live quite comfortably. But it's not. I don't judge success on the material things that you can have. I see it as the desire to achieve what you want to achieve, and for us, taking our music to the world is what we want to do. Yes, we could carry on playing around in South Africa and selling albums. We have a very good big fan base that's very loyal, but ultimately, part of us wants to write the history books. It's never really been done before. A South African band out of South Africa making it a real international breakthrough. That's the dream. Whether we achieve it or not, that remains to be seen, but we are seriously enjoying the ride.
Would you say you struggle from South Africa?
I do think we struggle a little bit more. I think the world tends to think that what comes out of America and the UK is just better and best. It gets the attention. It's assumed that it's of a superior quality, and nothing of our sort of nature has really ever come out of South Africa. So, people have no benchmark measure it up against. So yeah, it is a bit more difficult, but I think to a large extent we have had a bit of a kickstart with this World Cup. Suddenly the eyes on South Africa. He has a big band from South Africa touring the world. There's a story there. So yeah, in a nutshell, we need a story to get attention. American band needs an album. I'm sure it's as difficult for an Austrian band landing on the shores of England, and they are suddenly, oh well, you're not as good as our bands, or you're not as good as the American bands. But it's not going to stop us.
Thank God. The States bands, when they start, they get foundation from the government. Is there anything similar to help artists in South Africa on their way, or not really?
Well, I can only speak from our reference. We've had absolutely no support from the government, except them paying us to play at the inauguration. That's about it. But I do know that something like that exists. I do know that, unfortunately, our country sort of buys into its own stereotype and believes that the bands that should get that kind of funding need to sound stereotypically African. As far as I'm concerned, we're African. Sure, we make rock music, but we're African. It doesn't make us less African because we sing in English and we play rock. But so yeah, we don't get any funding. If any South African ambassadors see this, I hope you understand our reasoning as good.
When you started off as a band, did you guys get together for fun, or did you already have some commercial aspirations behind it?
When we started out, I think it's a bit of both. Obviously, there's the fun element. I think the fun element should never leave. You play music because you love it and you enjoy it. But I think I'm speaking for ourselves, and I think I can speak for many bands. I think when you finally decide to form a band and get a group of guys together, there are definitely commercial aspirations and dreams that are larger than life. Otherwise, what's the point? You might as well sit in your bedroom and jangle on your guitar or bang your drums. If you have no... I never understand bands who say, we don't want commercial appeal. Well, then why even go play a gig? What's the point? The reason you do it is because you want to attract an audience, you want to sell albums, and you want to make a living out of it. So it's a bit of both. I think if we lose the elements of fun though, and the passion for it, then we shouldn't be doing it, because pretty soon you'll lose the commercial reward, because if people see that you're not enjoying it and your heart's not in it, you probably lose your fan base.
What advice on the worldwide stage?
I think my advice to any band is understand why you're doing it. If your aim is to just play for fun, then that's fine. Don't be upset if there's no one ever comes to your shows. If you don't have big aspirations, and if you do have big aspirations, understand your market. I can speak from a South African context. We realized pretty soon that if we wanted to, have a chance of making a living out of it, we needed to appeal to a wider audience, and so that we crafted our songs accordingly. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. At least we're in the game. At least we don't have to do a 9-to-5 job. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a 9-to-5 job, but it wouldn't be right for us. And so understand why you're doing it. If you're pursuing music because you want fortune and fame and girls throwing themselves at you, that's the wrong reason, because it should be about music.
Does it happen to you that girls throw yourselves at you?
Yeah, sometimes girls throw themselves at you, but but I mean it's not why we got into a band. It doesn't really, it's not like, yeah, now we made it.
How important are music awards for you?
I think the concept of a music award ceremony, I like it. I think ultimately what it does is uplift the face of music. It recognizes the talent within the country, and that can only be good for music. And I don't place much emphasis on it. I don't care whether we win or lose or whether we get nominated. Ultimately we're not making music for a music award. We're making music for our fans and for ourselves. So that's the be all and end all. If we happen to get one, it's a nice byproduct. It's like fame, fortune and girls. It's a nice thing, byproducts, but it's not the reason, not the be all and end all. But I do enjoy the fact that they do contribute very much to recognizing arts and culture.